Hi, JR here. In my last video I stated that after that video, I will review Halo Combat Evolved in March 2017, Halo 2 on April 3rd, 2017, or my 18th birthday, and Rogue Warrior in May 2017, and everything else revolving around making these videos. Well, when you viewers find out that I lied once again, you're right, I did lie. I'm sorry viewers for lying to you at my last video. I don't want to say that again, but I hope that video doesn't get taken down on YouTube. I want it to be shown here for like, I don't know, forever. This video, or the one you're watching right now though, you think will be my review of Halo Combat Evolved, but no, it isn't. So I actually did not review Halo Combat Evolved directly after my last video. The same goes to the other games I want to review, so I'm sorry viewers for lying at my previous video like that too. You all know what I usually say after saying, I'm sorry for lying, stuff like that, so despite meaning it, I don't want to say it again, thankfully. Also, of all the stuff that I overpromise to my viewers in my videos, I think I do it as much as Peter Molyneux does to his games. I hope I don't do that again. Anyways, this video, you obviously know that we're not talking about Halo Combat Evolved, or any of the other games that I said I'll review on my channel. No, instead, this video, we're talking about, you guessed it, E3 2017. That won't be my first E3 video though, that honor belongs to my video on E3 2016. I'm making a video on E3 2017 because I probably have to make it. Also, you can tell that I'm not using the microphone built in my laptop anymore and I'm instead using that better microphone that I mentioned will be on my review on Halo Combat Evolved. In my last video, I did not say that that review will be my first video using that better microphone, so I didn't lie, thankfully. Anyways, in my video about E3 2016, I talked about E3 2016 being good and how it's good. Well, for E3 2017, it's better than E3 2016. It's great. There were great games, there were great trailers, there were good press conferences, and a lot of things there were either thrilling, a good idea, or just good. E3 2017 rocks. I'll be talking about E3 2017 in the same format I used when talking about E3 2016. I'll be talking about each and every press conference held at E3 2017 with two exceptions. Like in my E3 2016 video, in which there are two exceptions. The two exceptions in this video are the PC gaming one and the one hosted by Intel. I'm still not a PC gamer, and Intel doesn't make enough video games in order for me to talk about their E3 2017 press conference. I mean, when it comes to Intel, they're known for making computers, but they usually don't make video games at all, unlike Microsoft who makes both computers and video games. So they're basically not a video game company. Anyways, like in my E3 2016 video, I'll be talking about all of these press conferences from oldest to newest. First, I'll be talking about EA's E3 2017 press conference, then Microsoft's, then Bethesda's, then Devolver's, then Ubisoft's, then Sony's, and finally Nintendo's. 7 out of the 9 companies that held press conferences back at E3 2016 held press conferences this E3. Square Enix and Kadokawa Games both just didn't hold press conferences this E3, I think. Anyways, time for my feelings about E3 2017 to commence. Round 1. Electronic Arts. Back in my E3 2016 video, I said that EA sucks, which gamers agree with me at. Well now, that opinion I have hasn't changed a bit. But EA's press conference this E3 is different. By that I mean in terms of quality. For better or worse, you ask? My answer, for better. Some of the best games shown there I'm hyped up for. The bad stuff that wasn't necessary for EA had its mistakes learned over. And EA made more good promises than last E3. EA's E3 2017 press conference is better than their last. The conference starts with Madden NFL 18 Longshot, which you know is an EA sports game, so I'm not hyped up for that. Then it moves to a montage of YouTubers to how they feel about Battlefield 1, and EA surprisingly likes to thank those people and the critics who liked it for liking the game with what else but DLC for Battlefield 1 entitled In the Name of the Tsar, which revolves around the Russian Revolution of 1917. I think it will be good DLC for a critically liked game because the DLC setting, the Russian Revolution of 1917, is significant in World War I because its November Revolution brought Russia to terms with the Central Powers via the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, which granted the Germans a significant victory. And if it comes out later this year, it will be a good centennial of the 1917 Russian Revolution. And what else can go good with the game other than the trailer? The trailer is good, and it has quotes from people in the real world, which for a video game trailer, scratch that, anything related to video games is unique. The best example being at the start of the trailer comes a quote, "There is no justice among men," which is said by Nicholas II, who was the last emperor of Russia before the 1917 revolution. That is a good quote for the trailer to have because it relates to the game's setting. Anyways, after that promise of good DLC comes FIFA 18, which you also know is EA Sports, so I'm not hyped up for that either. But after that came something better, a Need for Speed game entitled Need for Speed Payback, which just wowed me. I don't know if the game mechanics there are new or not, but I was wowed by the graphics, and the game is cinematic. I think it'll be a good installment in the Need for Speed franchise. After that comes EA Originals, which, as I said in my E3 2016 video, is a program for EA to spotlight indie games. Also, EA Originals usually only shows one game at an E3 press conference. The first EA Originals game, Fee, as I said in my E3 2016 video, isn't a good start for the program because I consider it to be boring. But now at E3 2017, EA Originals showed off A Way Out, created by the people who also made the famous Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And let me tell you, A Way Out is better than Fee. I like the art style, the gameplay, the characters, and the trailer. A Way Out I consider not only to be good, but also to be one of the greatest games of EA's conference. So I think EA Originals is learning from its mistakes and showing a lot of improvement. After that comes boring BS about EA's visual team, and then EA hyped me up once again with what else? A trailer for a new IP by EA studio BioWare, and that new IP is called Anthem, whose title has nothing to do with the game, but that doesn't stop the game from becoming the best game in EA's conference, and it's all thanks to the thrilling trailer that is so thrilling, it went on to become the greatest trailer of E3 2017. After that comes, again, another EA Sports game entitled NBA Live 18, which you all know I'm not hyped for, and at that point I'm starting to notice a pattern here. First EA bores me, then EA anticipates me in order for me to get out of boredom, and in order for me to get out of anticipation, EA bores me again, and so on. After that boredom, I'll give you a few seconds in order for you to guess what occurs after that boredom. Now I'll say what happens after that boredom. EA anticipates me again with what else but Star Wars Battlefront 2. Not the 2005 one, the one that EA is making. And let me tell you, that is not only the last game and last thing EA shows at this conference, but also the second greatest game EA showed at this conference. The trailer rocked, the graphics are beautiful, and the gameplay rocked, especially the new playable characters, campaign mode, and new maps. Another surprise related to the game is that after the trailer, John Boyega, who played Finn in The Amazing Star Wars The Force Awakens, and likes Star Wars Battlefront 2015, tells the audience on how excited he is on Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017. The rest of the conference is gameplay footage on the game, and let me tell you viewers, that game took the longest time in the press conference out of all the games shown in the press conference. And while I think it will be good and better than its predecessor, I'm referring to the one by EA and not the ones not made by EA. I consider it to be the second greatest game shown at EA's press conference. The real greatest game shown at the conference is Anthem. Maybe EA was so impressed by Anthem that they decided to spend less time with that game than Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017. Probably because EA wants to show more of Anthem later on in Microsoft's E3 2017 press conference. While their E3 2016 press conference is poor, their E3 2017 press conference is okay. The unnecessary bad stuff had its mistakes learned over, some of the greatest games showed there I'm hyped up for, and more good promises were made by EA than last E3. I think EA learned from the mistakes they made in E3 2016 and improved over them in E3 2017. EA still sucks, but their E3 2017 press conference certainly doesn't. Sure, it's still not good, but it's better than average, so it's okay. That's just my opinion. How are yours towards this conference? You can say what you want about EA's E3 2017 press conference, but now it's time to move on. Round 2. Microsoft. Back in my E3 2016 video, I said that I was an Xbox fanboy and support Microsoft as a video game company. Well, first, I'm an Xbox fan. And yes, there's a difference between fanboy and fan. More on that soon. Second, I still support the Xbox brand, but I don't know if I still support Microsoft as a video game company or not. Yeah, weird, huh? But it will be less weird when I mean by today's standards. Between their establishment in 1995 and releasing the Xbox 360, Microsoft was a great video game company. They made good games, and I like their consoles, or console, or more specifically the original Xbox, which is one of my favorite video game consoles of all time. And they saved Bungie from losing a lot of money over a game-breaking glitch in Bungie's game Myth 2. From 1995 to 2005, Microsoft, despite not being a perfect video game company, was a great one. I don't know if they're still good or not since they released the Xbox 360, so why do I still support the Xbox brand today? I don't know. But enough about my new feelings towards Microsoft as a video game company. They have an E3 2017 press conference for me to talk about. About Microsoft's E3 2017 press conference, it was great like their E3 2016 one. There were good games and a fun atmosphere for a press conference. It was a great time. The conference begins with a montage of Xbox consoles from the original Xbox to the Xbox One, and that montage made me feel nostalgic because of the games I enjoyed for these systems. After the Xbox One montage came the reveal of not a new Xbox console, but instead an update on the Xbox One called the Xbox One X, previously codenamed Project Scorpio. Before the Xbox One X, the Xbox One already had a revision, the Xbox One S, and that revision got more positive reviews than the original form of the console did. But I think the Xbox One will be better than the Xbox One S. It will have more 4K graphics, and it will have a better look. Because the Nintendo Switch and 9th generation of video game consoles is already out, I want the Xbox One X to be the last revision of the Xbox One before Microsoft and Sony move on to make 9th generation systems. They'll do that in 2 years, and I'm fine with that. The first game in Microsoft's conference to show what the Xbox One X can do is Forza Motorsport 7, which I think will be the same as its predecessor with a new coat of paint, especially the impressive graphics. Another surprise related to the game is the reveal of the 2018 Porsche 911 GT2 RS, which is included in the game and the car equivalent of the Xbox One X. After that comes Metro Exodus, which is not only way better than Forza Motorsport 7, but also one of the best games shown on both the conference and the entirety of E3 2017. I liked the gameplay, The graphics are super impressive for the Xbox One X. I liked the weapons. The levels are imaginative. The animation is great. It's a way better way to show what the Xbox One X can do than Forza 7, even though Deep Silver published Metro Exodus instead of Microsoft. The next game shown on the conference is Assassin's Creed Origins, an Assassin's Creed game finally set in ancient Egypt. Other than that, the game has new combat, RPG elements, decent graphics, and the trailer is good, minus the part with the big snake. I think Assassin's Creed Origins will be a decent addition to the Assassin's Creed series. After that comes announcements on Mixer, which is a game streaming service that Microsoft owns. Then comes PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which I'm excited for. I liked the gameplay, the open world, and the trailer. I think it'll be okay. After that comes an indie game called Deep Galactic Underground, which will be a good indie game. Then comes State of Decay 2, which is good. It introduces co-op to the series the game is at. The trailer is good. I liked the open world. It will be a good sequel to an Xbox Live Arcade game. After that comes the Darwin Project, which for an indie game will rock. But at the reveal, a man with a beard comments on how the gameplay is done like a sports announcer. That commenting by that man is infamous in the internet, and I agree with them. That man is talking like a sports announcer at E3. Freaking E3, for Christ's sake. There do exist sports in which you play video games. It's called esports, but at esports, video games that already got released are only played for sports, while at E3, future video games are shown in order to be bought in the future. E3 and esports don't mix together well, which might be why that man talking is infamous. Another reason is that that man is commenting too loud for a sports or esports announcer. But anyways, after that comes updates for Minecraft, like cross-multi-platform play for the game and graphics packs. Then comes Dragon Ball FighterZ, which I am excited for. The trailer is berserk. I like the gameplay, the graphics rock. It will be a cool fighting game and a match made in heaven. A Dragon Ball Z fighting game like that. Cool. After that comes Black Desert Online, which I think will port well to the Xbox One, The Last Night, The Artful Escape, and Code Vein. After that comes the greatest game in Microsoft's E3 2017 press conference that Microsoft published themselves. It's called Sea of Thieves, and I'm hyped up for it. Even though it is not known where there are match thingies in the game or not, the gameplay is cool, the narrator is likable and subtle, the art style is good, the graphics are good. I like Rare Replay for the Xbox One, so if I like Yooka-Laylee 2, I think this will help in Rareware coming back after their troubles with Microsoft since 2002. After that comes Tacoma, which is a letdown due to how shallow the gameplay is. Then came Super Lucky's Tales to Re-Anticipate Me. The graphics are not bad for an indie game. And the trailer made me feel like crying in beauty due to both the trailer's music and the character who looks like if Conker ate Tails the Fox and Tails only had one tail. Speaking of Conker, that character reminded the internet of him. But he reminds me not only of him, but also Tails from Sonic. After that came a trailer to cheer me up with what else but Cuphead. I saw the trailer, and I was like, Cuphead, you're here! And now it has a release date, September 29th, 2017. I can't wait to get this game. I like the art style, I like the trailer, and I like the graphics. I like Cuphead. After that comes Crackdown 3, which I can't wait to get. The graphics rock, the destructible environments are cool, the co-op is upgraded to 8 players, I like the open world, I think it will be good. The trailer is good, especially the first half of the trailer with Terry Crews as Commander Jackson. Gamers consider Crackdown 3 to be E3 2017's greatest game that Microsoft themselves published. But sadly, I disagree with them. I'm giving that award to Sea of Thieves because the gameplay in Sea of Thieves is more original than that of Crackdown 3. I still think Crackdown 3 will be a good game though. After that comes ID at Xbox, which has indie games, but then came another called Ashen. It had good graphics, the environments are interesting, the levels are fun, the trailer is good. I think it will be a good indie game. After that comes Life is Strange Before the Storm, which I think will be a good prequel to Life is Strange and has a good trailer. Then comes Middle-earth Shadow of War, which I find to be amazing. The gameplay in the game rocks. The Nemesis system upgraded, the game felt more like an action RPG than a hack and slash, and the combat and unique abilities are cool. The graphics are amazing, the voice acting is imaginative, the characters are well developed, and the open world is fun to explore and look at. I think Middle-earth Shadow of War will get more critical acclaim than its predecessor. After that comes Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which I can only describe as impressive. Then it moves on to the Annunciation, in which the Xbox One is now backwards compatible to original Xbox games, meaning that the Xbox One is now backwards compatible with games from all previous Xbox systems. That'll be awesome, and that's something other game console manufacturers like Sony should do to their new systems. Another annunciation is that the Xbox One X can enhance the graphics of 30 Xbox One games, including Gears of War 4 and Minecraft, to better 4K graphics, which is cool. Then came the last game shown on the conference, Anthem, which was last shown in EA's E3 2017 press conference. But I'm still talking about it, because at EA's press conference, the trailer stated that more will be heard of it in Microsoft's press conference. So now is the time to talk more about Anthem. It has the fun co-op of Borderlands, the worlds and suits of Destiny, and the uniqueness of itself. The graphics are amazing, the open world is fun to explore and wowed me, the game is cinematic, the co-op is fun, and the gameplay is the best of E3 2017. You can fly in the world with your jetpacks and your suits, you and your team can fight huge monsters and smaller enemies, and your teammates can teleport when you command them to regroup. I consider Anthem to not only be the best game ever shown at both Microsoft's and EA's E3 2017 press conferences, but also to be one of the greatest games ever shown at E3 2017. Microsoft sure saved the best for last. Microsoft's E3 2017 press conference is great like their E3 2016 one is. There were good games, the conference had a fun atmosphere. Xbox did great at E3 2017. Great job, Microsoft. Great job. I don't know if you still rock for a video game company today or not, but your E3 2017 press conference certainly does. Round 3. Bethesda Softworks. Our beloved Bethesda Softworks not only makes great games, but also hosted 2 amazing E3 press conferences in a row in 2 years in a row, E3 2015 and E3 2016. About Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference, it is not amazing like Bethesda's E3 2016 press conference. In fact, it's disappointing. It is shorter than not only Bethesda's E3 2016 press conference, but also shorter than how long a usual E3 press conference is. A usual E3 press conference is at least around an hour long, especially Bethesda's E3 2015 and 2016 press conferences. How long is Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference, though? Answer: 40 minutes. That's right, viewers. A 40-minute E3 2016 press conference. That's not very good for an E3 press conference. Also, the worst stuff in that conference is worse than the worst stuff shown at Bethesda's E3 2016 press conference. But none of this stops Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference from being okay. There were still promising or exciting stuff shown there, so it's not bad. The conference begins with a video in which Bethesda's employees and children, which might happen to be the employees' kids, grandkids, nephews, nieces, etc., talk about what the employees do and are doing now. Well, that video gives me an idea that other video game companies like Take-Two Interactive, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Sony, and others should make videos in which their employees and children, which might happen to be their kids, grandkids, nephews, nieces, etc., talk about what their employees do, what they're working on, and other stuff like that. Video game companies like that having videos like that is a cool concept. But that video Bethesda has includes irony, in which there are children, repeat children, in Bethesda's video, and Bethesda's games are usually rated M for mature or T for teen. Then it moves to a montage of games Bethesda made like Prey 2017, Doom 2016, and Dishonored 2. Usual E3 stuff. After that, it moves to something that is different to the montage, which is what else but Bethesda Land, which you think is a theme park similar to Disneyland, except by Bethesda with Bethesda characters instead of Disney with Disney characters, but not clearly. It is either that and or what the entire press conference is, so I'm not referring the press conference to Bethesda Land, folks. Honestly, I want Bethesda Land to be a real theme park. That way, theme parks based on video games will exist. By that I meant other than Super Nintendo Land, which is not a full theme park, and instead just a part of Universal Studios Japan. And yes, there are adult-only theme parks in the real world, and Bethesda Land will be the most remembered out of all of them. Make it as big as you want it to be. If you don't want to, then how about a video game that takes place in the theme park? If you want to do that, instead, make it way better than, that. After that comes the first thing shown on the conference, Bethesda VR. Bethesda VR is Bethesda's VR, or virtual reality division. Like EA Sports and EA Originals are both EA's sports game division and indie game divisions respectively. In this conference, Bethesda VR showed 2 games, both of which are both VR versions of Bethesda's already released games and coming out on HTC Vive. These 2 games are the VR versions of Fallout 4 and Doom 2016. These 2 games in VR are freaking cool, and considering that both of these games without VR are also cool, by that I meant combine that in my opinion in which there needs to be more VR games that are truly great, that is saying a lot. Resident Evil 7, meet your 2 new friends in the VR world, regardless of which VR system y'all at. Then it moves to an update to the Elder Scrolls Online called Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind. The trailer is cool and the game got better, so with Morrowind now in the game, I think that's promising. After that, we move to something that isn't promising, Bethesda Creation Club. It is a system of paid mods on PC, PS4, and Xbox One to expand Skyrim and Fallout 4, and that isn't a good thing. I mean, paid mods? Really? And on PC? It isn't nice to put microtransactions in mods of your games, Bethesda. Video game companies like Take-Two don't put microtransactions in mods of their games. You're also doing it on consoles. Freaking consoles! Mods on consoles is debatably one of what's best about you in the gaming industry, and you're butchering it with microtransactions. Can you respect modding in video games, Bethesda? Bethesda Creation Club will suck. After that comes an update to the Elder Scrolls Legends called Heroes of Skyrim. Back at my E3 2016 video, I stated that I wasn't a fan of card games. Well, today, I'll tell you that the Elder Scrolls Legends surprisingly got critical acclaim, and with the expansion of the game to Skyrim, I think that the Skyrim update to the game will get better reviews than the game without that update. even though I'm still not a huge fan of card games. Speaking of Skyrim, the Nintendo Switch version of the game comes next, and I think it will port well to the Switch, thanks to the creative controls and DLC inspired by Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. After that comes Dishonored 2 Death of the Outsider, which is an expansion pack for Dishonored 2. Then comes the first original game shown in the conference, Quake Champions, shown, get this, halfway through the conference. That is the equivalent of a Nintendo Direct, first showing stuff like new non-video game thingies and updates to games, all in the first half of itself. And then in the second half of itself, it finally shows original games, whether with non-video game thingies like these or without them. That isn't very good. Regardless, Quake Champions wowed me as much as it did last E3. After that comes The Evil Within 2. I honestly haven't played The Evil Within 1, but for a sequel to that game, it will rock. The story is emotional and better than the original Evil Within. The combination of scary and emotional is well executed. The art thingy is creative for survival horror, and the graphics rock. It will be a scary sequel to an already scary game and obey the spirit of its predecessor. After that comes, get this viewers, not only the third original game shown on the conference, but also the last, and on top of that, the last thing shown on the conference. Out of all the things shown on the conference, only 3 out of 9 of them, repeat, only 3 out of 9 of them are all original games, meaning that 33.3% of all the stuff shown at the conference are all original games, while the rest of the 66.7% are all not. For an E3 press conference, that's not good. Time-wise, on the other hand, it's still not very good, but it's better. But anyways, viewers, that last original game is what else but Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, which is also the best game shown at the entire conference. The gameplay is good, the levels are good, the story is good, the graphics are amazing, and even though the trailer is overly long, it's still exciting. But at the end of the trailer comes a lizard that is surprisingly not animated in the way the rest of the game is. Well, other than the stuff on the TV and the game and tile screen thingies, and instead 2D pencil animated. By that, I meant very well. But what's the purpose of that in the game? Well, other than, well, executing the concept of 2D pencil animated objects and 3D realistically animated objects in video games, or doing what Who Framed Roger Rabbit did in video games. Well, the game is set in 1961, I looked that up from Wikipedia, and the lizard is animated like it's from that era, but it looks like it was animated 10 years before 1961. Or obviously 1951, because it looks like it came from Alice in Wonderland. I'm referring to the 1951 Disney movie as opposed to the 2010 one with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter in it. Regardless, Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus is the best game at Bethesda's conference, proving that, like Microsoft, Bethesda saved the best for last this E3. All in all, Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference is okay. There were promising or exciting stuff shown there, and the conference kept that relaxing atmosphere, but okay is not the word I'll use to describe Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference. The real word I will use is disappointing. It is shorter, it is less exciting, and don't get me started on Creation Club, but that doesn't stop Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference from being okay. But that did make the conference disappointing. Like all of you gamers, I was disappointed because it's Bethesda. They made great games and hosted amazing press conferences, so we all expected them to host an amazing E3 2017 press conference, but they didn't. What happened, Bethesda? Your E3 2015 and E3 2016 press conferences rocked, but your E3 2017 one didn't. I don't know what happened, but we were overhyped over your press conference. Honestly, it's not bad. In fact, even though your press conference may or may not be the worst of E3 2016, there are definitely worse press conferences in E3 history than yours, but if you are hosting an E3 2018 press conference, you need to heavily improve over the mistakes you made in E3 2017 and at least make a system of mods that we don't have to pay. You disappointed us at E3 2017, which you didn't do at E3 2015 or E3 2016, and we don't want you to make the same mistake next E3, so please, Bethesda, do better. I mean way better at E3 2018. You don't want to be hated by gamers, Bethesda, don't you? Round 4. Devolver Digital. Any of you viewers ever heard of Devolver Digital? No? I have. I first heard of them back in Sony's E3 2015 press conference through a trailer of Devolver's work, and now I also know that Devolver not only makes games, but also movies, like Sony, except Sony does it via their respective studios, while Devolver does them all by themselves. That is extraordinary for a video game company. Movies I know Devolver made include the AVGN movie, and games I know Devolver made are indie titles, including Hotline Miami. I don't know if the company is good or not, but what I do know is that pretty much no games they make are all AAA titles, so they're not like Microsoft, Sony, Bethesda, EA, Ubisoft, or Take-Two. The same goes to their film self. None of the films they make are all AAA titles, or like the movie equivalent of those. They're like an indie developer of films, so they're nowhere like a major film studio like 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, or Sony Pictures, but that doesn't stop them from getting an E3 press conference at E3 2017. Also, because they're not like Ubisoft, EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Sony, or Bethesda, their press conference is short. It lasts for 20 minutes, making it not only the shortest press conference of E3 2017, but also the shortest E3 press conference of all time. By that I meant in my mind. Let me know if there are shorter E3 press conferences than that or not, okay? That is appropriate for a company like Devolver to do. It is also different from other E3 2017 press conferences. Unlike the rest of press conferences at E3 2017, all of which are serious, Devolver's E3 2017 press conference is humorous, which for an E3 2017 press conference is unique. Some of the stuff shown in the conference are all fake and only shown to satirize stuff in the gaming industry nowadays. The footage of the audience does not have the real audience of the press conference, and instead footage of audiences in other places like theaters and live reactions of people watching the conference from their computers have their footage taken. Also, only 2 games are shown, Ruiner and Serious Sam's Bogus Detour, both of which are real. Devolver made it as a sketch satirizing the gaming industry nowadays, which makes Devolver extraordinary. Now they're doing comedic sketches, too, by themselves as well. About Devolver's press conference, it's good. It has clever jokes and good games. The conference begins with CSO, or Chief Synergy Officer Nina Struthers, using a gun to calm down the over-enthusiastic audience. This is unique for an E3 press conference. The first thing shown on the conference is Ruiner, which will be good, like the tricks and weapons. Then comes Devolver Screen Pay, in which you throw money at the screen, whether it's on the computer or TV. And yes, you can literally do it. After that, extra content comes to your Devolver game. In reality, nothing revolving around Devolver Screen Pay, including itself, will ever exist. That is meant by Devolver to satirize DLC, and that is not only unique for something revolving around the gaming industry, but also funny, because it gets the usual stuff out of mind, especially when the user's hand is cut off and absorbed in the screen.